grew up in central Pennsylvania on a dairy farm about an hour east of Pittsburgh. So my grandfather was my dentist growing up in our small town. My grandfather practiced from 1938 to 1993. So he was what first got me at least exposed to dentistry. I graduated from Ohio State in 1995. I had a little different background in that I decided I wanted to be a dentist later in the game, and so I've got a business degree from undergrad. So I was, it was pretty unique at the dental school at the time. I started practicing right here in Dublin in 1990. I did a residency at the VA hospital down in Dayton for a year, and then I joined my father-in-law's practice right out of school, right out of the residency. I practiced with him, and my brother-in-law eventually came along, and we practiced together for 9 years. And then we all decided to do our own thing, which was about the healthiest thing a family can do. So I really worked day and night on forming relationships with patients and then empowering my staff to do the same thing. We've had lots of comments from patients that pick up on the relationships that we have, and they can tell that people are not miserable working here. So I think that's a big plus. But it's a lot of 1% changes. I heard that when I was, again, a younger doc, and it's just doing a lot of things 1% better. It's just been it's a tortoise, boring way of growing a practice, but I think if you stick to it, it works. I'd like to have them convinced that I'm still a younger dentist. Probably that'd be probably the first thing, but I'd say don't try to follow rules. I started thinking like, oh, when I have my own practice, I will do things exactly the way I want to do them, and I really have. And I think you don't have to follow convention. If you've got an instinct to do certain things, and that's where your heart is, I'd say you just follow your heart, and people will follow. The goals for the next 5 to 10 years are difficult. I'm going to transition family-wise and becoming an empty nester here in the next, within the next year, and I suppose just some flexibility and freedom to do some of the things I want to do. Having the ability to admit your mistakes and not let ego get in the way of progress or success. I heard a quote recently, and this is the best 4 words a leader can say is, I really messed that up. I guess that's 5 words. I really messed that up. And I have, the people I work with would tell you I have no problem doing that. I think that it goes back again to just the relationships we've built. I've had several. I've got a lot of long-term employees that I'm proud of that they're still here, but a couple that have moved on because of spouse moving out of state. We've stayed in touch, and I think that's really great. That when they come into town, they call me up and want to get together. That those kind of things are legacy building things. That's pretty cool. I think I've been in the club for 17 years, since around 2000. I think I came as a guest, and it's been really foundational is probably the best word. It kind of centers you that as a solo practitioner you're not alone, and when you're faced with some challenges, you've got other people out there that I've called at different times to ask, hey, what would you do in this case, and not feel awkward or strange about doing it. I think some of the biggest issues we face is just feeling like we're getting squeezed a little bit. Just the sheer amount of time you're able to spend with people and the relationships and getting to know where people stand is just getting squeezed tighter and tighter, and that's just challenging. I think dentistry is as good an opportunity as it's ever been. It's also probably as difficult over 20 years. You can't be an autopilot right now. You've got to keep your head down and keep working hard. I have 3 girls, I have a 22-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 17-year-old. So with 2 in college and a third soon to be, they just have dominated our lives for 20 plus years. It's great because we've made it through the middle school years and they actually want to spend time with us now. So moving forward, I'm sure that's going to continue to, we're blessed that'll continue to dominate our time, and we may be doing some more road trips instead of in the family room, but that's okay too. We'll see where it goes. Yeah, next summer Amy and I will be married 25 years, and we met at Penn State in college. We were both in the business school, and she was a practicing CPA, and she transitioned over time to work with us, and then work with me. She's worked in about every role in this office she could work. I had a patient one time say that she was trying to get comfortable, and she would rather if I just pretended that I was Brad Pitt and she wanted to pretend that she was Angelina Jolie. I guess the biggest surprise is I didn't really have a big enough worldview to have a vision for where this was going past a couple years of practice. I've been blessed to have more success than I ever really imagined, because I don't think I really imagined it. The sound of a beer bottle opening up. Sighing, people huffing, especially when it's unnecessary, and the sound of the silent eye roll too of a teenage daughter. I've had numerous nightmares of falling. I will wake up yelling that I'm falling somewhere, that I'm hanging off of a cliff, and one by one my fingers are becoming undone off the side of the cliff.
Here we go, my friend. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'd like to tell you that I speak German because I took 3 years of German, and I'm definitely able to tell you that der Fernsehapparat is wieder kaputt, which means the TV set is broken. So if ever comes up a conversation, I'm your guy. Other than that, it's pretty weak. Phoniness. I don't know if it's a singular moment. I still am the guy that gets choked up every time you see a military family member coming home and seeing the rest of their family and running across that tarmac. I've got some good friends not make it through and be lost in military service, and that's probably why I still like that just never gets old to me. So I suppose I'd like to play an instrument sometime, and I've always thought I'd play guitar. I have this feeling that I'd be good at it, but I've never made the effort to try it. Oh, Mario Lemieux. I was a Pittsburgh guy growing up, and Mario was a phenomenal player, beat cancer, took a hometown discount, and then bought the team, and has been a great owner, and as about as good as a role model as one could ever see. I think I'd probably say Serena Williams, because she's frankly kind of a badass. First thing that comes to mind is Shawshank Redemption. I always love that movie. I have lots of favorite songs, but the first thing that came to mind is Renegade by Styx, and that's because as a little kid, well, growing up, I guess I wasn't a kid, but growing up going to Steeler games, there's always a point in the game, well, they'll stop, and the big screen goes black, and the thump of Renegade starts, and everybody loses their mind, and so it brings back good memories. A lot of people don't know this, and he's probably embarrassed because we don't tell a lot of people, but I was actually Fred Sakamoto's sponsor when he came to the United States. I signed for him, and I've kind of taken ownership of most of the things he does since he's been here, so I'm pretty proud of that.
So his success is because of you.
I think I don't want to take all the credit for his success. Just about this much credit about. I'm a craft beer fan. Mostly Twitter, honestly. I used to read Time magazine a lot and Sports Illustrated, kind of standard things. But now I'm a Twitter junkie and spend way too much time engaging in Twitter activities.